Hello and welcome to Pitch Please. It's your boy, Mike Orvis. I'm coming at you live and in your ears, and sometimes, if you're lucky, on your face and chest. I don't know why.
Oh man, you lost control of that.
I lost control of myself. Right, start that again. Obviously this is staying in, but or just hello and welcome to Pitch Please. It's your boy Mike Orvis coming right in them ear holes of yours. That's right, we're live, we're dirty, and we're free. We are the Pitch Please boys. Sometimes girl, maybe one day a girl. Please, does a girl want to be on this show? Does anyone want to be on this show? Do we want to be on this show? Of course we do, because we're here to give you oral, sweet oral pleasure. If you don't know this show, it's very strange that you've started with Season 3, episode whatever the fuck this is. But hello, welcome. The front door's open, and I'm cooking sausages downstairs. And if you want a sandwich, all you got to do is butter up your own bread, and I'll make you one.
Why downstairs?
This is such a weird introduction.
In the basement?
Yeah, well, because my house is the kitchen's downstairs.
Oh, that's cool.
Hello and welcome to Pitch Please. It's your boy, Mike Orvis. This is a podcast in which boys and men, sometimes boys to men, in that one episode, but you can only access that through the secret Patreon, get together and pitch films. Sometimes it's against each other, sometimes it's together. This is one of my favourite times because we're going to get together. We're going to just pull our bodies into one like an amoeba and just make some sweet miasmic explosions. We're going to create a life form so incredible, so dense, that it's going to walk out of the protoplasm and walk on fucking land. And eventually, it'll become what you know today as a human. To my left is bacteriologist and all-around lupus sufferer, Callum Tyndall.
I'm still
It's all right. Lupus doesn't exist because House said it's never lupus.
It's never lupus.
Yeah, so it's fine.
One time it was lupus.
It was. What a twist!
It's like we went through fucking 50
it's
seasons.
like 6 seasons. Yeah.
Never being lupus, and then out of fucking nowhere, the lupus.
Boom! That's when lupus gets you. That's why I always carry a lupus cannon strapped to my wrist, sort of like Mega Man, but a bit naff. It's just chock full of antibiotics, and what I do is there's a couple of syringes with some antibiotics that have been like set in water for a bit, and then there's like a straw at the front, and there's a balloon. And what I do is if I suddenly think a lupus is going to happen, just put my old mouth on the sort of collective straw, pop that balloon, and the force of the popping of the balloon sends those bad boys up, and those drugs just go straight in my gullet, and I'm good. That's like preemptive antibiotics. There's antifungal in there. There's AIDS medication. There's a whole concoction of drugs. It's cost a lot of money, and there have been a few times where it misfired, where a child has touched me, and I've just preemptively gone, "Oh, you little shit," and just straight for the drugs. It's very effective. You do shit like a fire engine though afterwards. So, just take it with care. On my left is a man who has fathered so many children he could almost repopulate the 90% of the population that Callum tried to kill in the last episode.
Successful. They died.
It's a man so abhorrently virile that we could never do a live show because the entire first 3 rows, regardless of gender or sexual preference, would be so pregnant. Just so very pregnant. It's Ben Fee.
I have a theory that the less confident Mike is with a pitch, the more long and meandering the intro is. It's like, I gotta fill 20 minutes of intro here, guys.
No, because in the last Star Wars one, I didn't have to pitch, but I just waffled on for 7 minutes. So I didn't feel bad about it. This one, I am slightly less confident because I know about 3 facts about what we're going to do. And I didn't prep because I'm a bad person. So basically, this all hinges on Callum. So if it's shit, blame him. If it's brilliant, I was the host. So just remember that. Compare the person, the
fair.
MC. Yeah, good. This week, we're going to get together, put our collective noggins together, put our hands in the circle like the fucking Power Rangers, and we are going to create a Hawkman thing. Probably a movie. Right, lads? Probably a movie.
Why not?
So, Callum, Hawkman. Why Hawkman? Why did you choose Hawkman? Because you got to pick a little bit of background. We all get to kind of pick a couple of pitches that go into the list, and then that list can sometimes change out of funny things we say during the podcast, sort of as the series progresses. But the core list is normally 2 or 3 things that we've each picked. So sorry, Callum. Why Hawkman?
Well, Hawkman is one of those characters who I'm like. He's not someone that I know like Batman, who I can just reel off. Here is the 50-year history of the character or whatever.
Yeah.
But every time he pops up, I'm like, I'd like to see more of you. I like
Who
when you're in
is he?
stuff. I like that he's got this weird mix of sci-fi and like kind of historical fantasy thing.
Yeah.
I like that his partnership with Hawkgirl I've always found really cool as a dynamic because you've got the kind of couplings within superheroes. Often like Superman and Lois Lane, great couple, but by and large, Lois Lane can't really help with the actual superhero part of it. Batman and Catwoman, bit closer, but even then, she's a thief, and she's not like Bat family trained or anything, though her skill level seems to vary somewhat wildly. But Hawkgirl is like, no, I'm just as badass as you, and it's like we're better when we're like partnered up and just seeing them like this sort of duo.
I have my hand up.
Go on.
I actually set my hand up. I completely disagree with that assessment of their relationship. I think it is possibly the creepiest relationship in comics.
What, Batman and Catwoman?
No, Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
There are other elements to it, but I'm saying in the purely like modern day Carter Hall, modern day Shira, like just as superheroes. I think they're really cool together. Also, I like that Hawkman's like, everyone else is, I'm going to punch them, and even Batman, who's a bit, on the more brutal edge, like, I'll break an arm or two, and Hawkman's, and they're all, what do you bring to a fight? Oh, I bring my fists, or I bring a batarang. What do you bring? I bring a mace and an axe.
There was a
Hold up,
there was a recent comment, and by recent I mean in the last 10 years. Time is slowly ebbing away from me. Please help me, I'm dying. But there was a comic where it was all the Justice League was sat down at a table, and Robin was there, and he goes over to Hawkman. He's like, "You've got some blood on you," and Hawkman just goes, "It's not my blood," and Robin just slowly ekes away, like slides his seat over, like, okay. Yeah, like Hawkman don't fuck about.
Yeah, which I love, and yet he's still long-term League member.
Mm-hmm.
Like consistently. I mean, less so. Obviously, recently he was kind of not really in he wasn't a big deal in New 52. Rebirth's just bringing him back. His new solo series is just starting. But and then to delve a bit more back towards the creepy stuff that Ben talks of. Before getting into the creepy. The whole reincarnation thing, I think, is such an interesting dynamic within most superheroes, and that most superheroes are kind of timeless in that, just Batman's been about 35 for his entire life within comics, and like somehow Robins are aging, but they hit certain ages where like Dick's always going to be like kind of mid to late 20s, so he can be the oldest Robin. And like Jason stopped aging once he hit about 25 or whatever.
Wow.
Whereas, see, not in terms like actual canonically, but just in terms of
because he's dead. Yeah, sure, we get it.
He came back.
I know he came back. He's Red Hood now, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, Ben. Worried me.
Spoilers.
Spoilers for now.
Did I ever tell you, just as a quick aside? Did I tell you about the time that I really riled Rocksteady at EGX a couple of years ago?
Oh yeah, and you were like, it's Jason in Arkham Knight, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm as probably a little less than Callum, but I'm a massive Batman fan myself. And in the trailer for Arkham Knight, when it came out, he calls Bruce Old Man, and I was like, "There's only one person that calls him Old Man, and that's Jason." And we went to EGX. It was me and a guy I used to write for the site, a guy called Nick, and we were covering the event for Geek Pride, and we got ushered into a room and we were shown the trailer, and he was like, whoop and holler, get excited. I'm like, all right, mate, calm down. And we watched it, and it was cool. And I walked up to the guy afterwards. I was like, it's Jason though, isn't it? And he's like, the Arkham Knight is a new character, and we are. I'm like, no, I'm fully aware of that, but it's Jason under there. Only one person calls Bruce Old Man, and he was like, "Oh well, I can see you're very into the background and story." I'm like, "So it is Jason?" And he's like, "Well, it is a new cat." I'm like, "It's Jason under the thing, isn't it?"
Letting it go.
It was such a bad call. It was the same thing when they tried to pretend that Khan wasn't Khan in Star Trek, and it was like,
yeah.
It's if you want him to be Jason, that's fine, but don't try and make him seem not Jason.
Yeah,
and then go, oh, but he does wear he's very clearly kind of mocking Batman with like his dress, and as soon as he says this ends tonight, old man, it's like there is like one villain who possibly fits everything that's going on that would call him old man.
Yeah, no
villain would just randomly call him.
It's like, oh, he cut my bat rope, and it's like, dude, you're directly taking from under the Red Hood the comic.
Oh my god, it's just. Call him like Red Hood or whatever. Don't try.
Anyway, sorry.
I like the whole reincarnation thing. The idea that he can keep coming back and
there
can be new people, that you can see new times through him. Yet there are some concerns, as Ben has raised. Ben, why don't you tell us about why you find Hawkman creepy?
Here's the deal with Hawkman. He and Shiara, Hawkgirl, are cosmically linked, somehow linked through destiny, to continuously find each other and fall in love, which gives us a lot of comic book plots and even TV plots with the what are they called? Those lots of people
Legends of Tomorrow.
That's the one. Yeah.
Lots of people at a time.
Lots of people
on a ship. That's what it should have been
called. Where we're having Hawkman.
Folks of DC.
Heroes.
Here's some guys.
Well, you get a lot of stories where Hawkman just walks up to this random girl and says, "Hey, we gonna bone soon," and she's like, "Nah, we're not." And he's like, "Yeah, we are." And so he just kind of follows her around for a bit until she realizes that she's his lost love, and it's like she has no choice in the matter. It happens every single time she ends up with him.
But she's tied by fate. Yeah. She can't not be that person.
But
I have used that line many times. It is never.
Here's what I think the actual problem with it is: it's not the inherent concept of them being tied together. The problem is that, like you say, every time it is positioned as he is an aggressor, and it's kind of like the setup is they are mutually bound by this because they were lovers. In ancient Egypt, but then every single time in their lives afterwards, it is he's on the aggressive, and he almost comes across as him forcing her to remember this thing and forcing her into the destiny. Whereas if it was kind of properly done, it would be a bit more like either she could be the aggressor, or they could both discover at the same time and be like, "Hey, this is crazy."
If neither of them were the aggressor, and they just happen to come together, and then they both realise that they're always together. Just completely randomly, they cross each other's paths, and it is pure destiny. But as it is, it's almost like it's a message to men, where it's like, if you feel as though you're cosmically or destinally attached to this woman, if you keep on at it, she'll eventually realise that you are. So, crack on, boys.
You know what we do?
Yeah,
we flip that on its head. We're in charge here. This is our fucking movie. We can flip it on its head. Okay, so I've had some time to think, and I'm just gonna throw an idea out there. Yeah. All right, is that cool?
Go for it.
It's kind of the thing we're here for.
Okay, so I'm just gonna, guys. I don't want to like upset the apple cart here, but I'm gonna try and pitch something.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. Bear with me, and then we'll probably do this back and forth for about 45 minutes more, and then I'll add, I'll beg for money, and then we'll leave, and that's how. Just bear with me. It's a bit far fetched, but stick with me. So. Our movie opens up in ancient Egypt. There is a Sphinx statue. There's a couple of small pyramids. But there's nothing to the grand sort of scale that we've seen Egypt in. You cut to the pharaoh doing pharaoh-y kind of stuff. And he starts talking about his dreams. He's like... His scribe has come up to him, or like his vizier or whatever, and it's like, and they'll be talking in whatever the closest language to Egyptian is now. It'll be subtitled, and he's like, he'll grab it at his vizier, and he'll be like, "Have you set aside the rocks as I've asked? Have you placed them in the sacred way? Have you, I've seen it in my dreams." And you'll get this back, and you're going to get this idea that the pharaoh's fucking mental. And they worship the god Anubis, obviously. Is it Anubis? No, Horus. Horus is the one with the I don't know Egyptian gods very well.
The hawk head. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that or is that Ra?
Horus is a bird. No, it's not Ra. Ra's the sun god.
Yeah, but does Ra have a hawk head?
No, it's Horus or Thoth. Horus has a falcon head. So
Egyptian god.
And I thought it's an ibis
head. Egyptian god, hawk face. Horus. It is Horus.
Douche.
Yeah. Don't call me a douche. I mean, you're right, but
it's
anyway.
Actually
okay,
that's actually a falcon. Actually,
you're a falcon. I don't know what that means. So yeah, like he's obsessed with Horus, and his vizier's like, if you forsake the other gods, then ruin will come to this land of whatever the fuck it was called back in the day. And there's a bit of drama. This is only like the first kind of 2-3 minutes of the movie, and there's a load of slaves, and they're putting like these rocks into this formation. This thing's fucking huge, like this massive circle that's full of hieroglyphs. And he's, the vizier's like saying, like, I don't understand why you're telling me, why you've told them to put it so specifically. These these words don't make sense. And then the pharaoh's like, come with me, and they go up the stairs of like one of these mini pyramids, and they look down, and this circle has got all the hieroglyphs in it, and the vizier's like, wait, they're not words, they're... And then he says, yes, numbers. And then the sky goes black, like it's an eclipse. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And the slaves all start to just bow down. They just bow. And the vizier's just standing there like, what the fuck? And then you see the pharaoh bow down, and you're like, what? And then from the sky, this giant golden pyramid descends on top of this like circle. These weren't numbers, these were coordinates. And it lands, and then like a door opens in the pyramid somewhere, and the hawk people start to step out, the hawk people of Thanagar. And that's how you open the movie. Like, then credits. Hawkman, I forgot his name, Qatar Hol, is it?
Yes, yeah. In Egypt, he was Qatar Hol.
Yeah. So he turns to Hawk Girl and holds her hand, and he says, "My love," and like kisses her fucking hand or whatever, and he's like, "We're home." And then credits, And then what I think would happen in kind of the first act of the movie is you'd get the shenanigans that happen in Egypt. Like them becoming established and them sharing their technology with them, and they're trying to turn Egypt into new Thanagar because, I don't know, Thanagar's got an overpopulation problem or war, whatever.
What if you just sorry to interrupt your pitch.
No, of course, no, go nuts.
What if you just, after the credits, just went straight ahead to the 1940s?
Oh, okay.
Just bang, leave it there. We've seen the aliens. Bang, 1940s. Carter Hall, same dude in the future. He's an archaeologist. So from the pyramid in the sky, it goes to a picture of a pyramid on his wall, a little archaeological poster.
I like it. Yeah, cool. I was going to have time skips in the movie, but I was going to be a lot more obvious about it.
It's going to be I would sort of put it through as a love story.
Yeah,
with a lot of adventure and sci-fi and time travel stuff in it as well. But I think the essence of Hawkman's story is finding lost love.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
But if that's the case, then you need to set up the loss of that love.
Well, no, you don't. No, you don't. See, no, this is good because what will happen is he's quite a good archaeologist, and we'll play him like he's kind of like the Indiana Jones kind of character, and he goes around. He's your action archaeologist, and he gives lectures and stuff, and maybe he finishes giving a lecture at the university, and he's about to go on this new trip, and then so he sets up this exposition. Lectures are great for this, so he can talk about ancient Egypt, and he goes, and I'm actually going to be heading out to ancient Egypt to explore the Thanagar pyramid myself. So your homework is to, not get drunk or whatever, like some sort of quippy line. He leaves and his secretary's like, Carter, there's been another letter for you. And he's like, not from, she's like, I think so. And he like, or telegrams are more like thing. And it's just, we must meet. And he's like, hurry. And there's an address. And he's like, when will this woman leave me alone? Like, he just doesn't, he gets really mad about it. And then he's packing.
What if he's a celebrity? What if he's a bit of a famous guy? And it's fairly normal for him to get letters in the post from women and fans.
Okay.
We need to talk to you. And he just sort of fobs it off as one of another crazy fan or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, I like that. So, he's out with his drinking buddies. We get more exposition about who Carter is as a guy. He's your action archaeologist. They're swapping stories, blah, blah, blah. Can we chuck... what's his fucking name? What's Martian Manhunter's human name? I know I just spoiled the surprise.
Hey, we can chuck in the entire Justice Society in here.
Well, not in the 40s.
Yeah, that's what they're from.
You could have...
JSA, not...
Yeah, you could... But Wonder Woman could fucking be there. Wonder Woman...
The Justice Society. So you're talking Hourman. You're talking Sandman.
You're talking fucking B-list.
Yeah, well, of course they are.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want there to be... We're not here to... No, look.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah. He's got a point.
I'm thinking about trying to eventually tying this into the current DC EU, whatever it's called. So maybe you'll see something about Diana Prince. You'll see the woman who stood in No Man's Land. Things like that, and you're like maybe that's how it starts. They're all drinking and smoking, and he's reading a newspaper, and it's the woman, and he's like, hell of a gal, kind of thing. It's a wonder she didn't get killed or some fucking bullshit. Yeah, like he's got a chubby mate, and the chubby mate leaves his kind of it's a wonder she didn't get killed. And they're like, he's like, heading out tomorrow, car, and he's like, yeah, and he's talking about Egypt, and he's like, there's something about that place. It draws me to it. And then you have like a very...
Sorry, just so we're clear, Carter Hall's going to be played by a Middle Eastern actor.
Cool. Okay, that's totally fine. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah. Cool.
So he's he says there's something about that place that draws me to it. And he takes a sip of whiskey, and then you just see this like Imagine the dagger from like fucking Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, like an Eastern dagger, and you just get this quick flash of just this shonk, like this dagger going in, and he goes, whoa, and he drops his thing, and they're like, whoa, careful, you know, and he's like, oh, what the fuck that was about. Anyway, he's walking, and he's alone, and he's you know, he's stumbling about, and he's said goodbye to his friends. They're all singing, you know, show me the way to go, and all that kind of stuff. He's walking back to his apartment, and this woman's like, I know you feel it too. You've been getting the visions, haven't you? And he's just like, look, lady, I don't know who you are. I'm, you know, if you got a book, I'll happily sign, you know, otherwise, if you want to, you know, you want to send me something, then you can get in touch with my secretary. Her address is, you know, my office is, but he starts writing it, and she grabs his hand, and he tries to like pull it, and she like won't let it go, and he's like, you're strong for a lady, and yeah, well, he's, you know, we're gonna, yeah, kinda.
At this maybe point, would we think that she's a bad guy? Is there some threat that we can equate her with?
Possibly, but she's just like, you know, she's the call to adventure, essentially. You know, we know he's already going to there, but it's call to adventure. She's like some crazy stalker fan, as far as we're concerned.
We should have like an element of paranoia though, because like so that. He thinks she's a crazy Stalker fan, but maybe there's some element where there is like he's slightly worried that there's something else outside of his. You know, there have been maybe a single letter or something that he noticed was beyond regular Stalker, because it was so just blunt. It was like, stay away from the pyramid, or you know, something where he's just a bit cautious that. As you know, as much as he's maybe used to this kind of attention from her persistence and you know, the fact
can
that
we
she's
play? Do you reckon we can buff up Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Do you reckon we can get him to play Carter Hall?
Yeah,
that's just really. I think that's a bit offensive. I shouldn't have said Middle Eastern. I should have said North African. But yeah, he's neither. Really,
he's Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologise.
Bunch of racists have found us.
Oh, yeah.
But no, who's the bad guy in this film? Get woke, Mike.
Sorry, Ben.
Who's the bad guy in this film? Who's the antagonist?
Savage.
Vandal Savage. Yeah, we'll get into him. Yeah. So he's going back to his apartment and fine, right? So he gets on his plane. Maybe you get a little bit more. She's following him down the road, and she's like, "Look, this is fate. This is destiny. You must remember who you are, Hole or something, or Qatar or something." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about, lady. Get away from me." And he slams the door in her face, and he goes to bed. And then he has a dream, and you see a bit more of the stabbing, and you see like her, but she's got the full fucking hawk fucking thing on, and she's like, Carter! And then you see the face of like this man, but it's got like, you know, your typical glowing eyes and just the smile. And then he wakes up in a cold sweat, and he gets on the fucking plane, right? So he gets on the plane, there's a bit of turbulence, so you've got a bit of like, oh, okay, and maybe he's holding on to something metal, and he like bends it in fright. So, like, he's holding on to a thing, like a crate or something, at the back. He's like, oh, it's slippy, you know, and they hit the turbulence. He's like, hang on to something, and they really hit some turbulence, and then they try to go above the clouds, and it's a risky maneuver, and the plane's fucking shaking everywhere, and there's thunder and lightning. It's fucking mental. And then they go above the clouds, and you've got this awesome shot of a plane breaking through, almost as if it's coming out of water, into, like, this beautiful sky above. And Carter's like, whoa, that was crazy, huh, boys? And he walks away, and you see that his hand has actually crushed this fucking like metal crate, and you're like, what the fuck? And Carter hasn't even realised. Anyway, we land the plane several hours later. They walk off, and it's dark, and he gets welcomed onto the airstrip, right?
I like that he's scared of flying. That's pretty good.
Scared of what? Sorry?
Flying.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So he's saying goodbye to everyone, and he's like, "Oh, I left my whatever on the plane. I left my journal on the plane." And he goes back, and there's a rustling in the in amongst the crates, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And you get this really kind of scary feeling, and then it's her. She snuck on the plane.
And he's like, "So she's in a crate."
She's in a crate, and he's like. He goes, he's like, "How did you survive?" And you get a little bit of banter. So she's just like, "Oh, I ate peanuts." He's like, "I wonder where my peanuts went," or something, flippant. But then it gets kind of dangerous. He's like, "You have got to go. Like, I don't know what you're doing here." And he walks over to put his hand on her shoulders to be like, "Sit down, little lady. Like, we got to fucking talk." And she just puts him up against the wall. And it's like, "You need to listen to me. You need to stay away from that pyramid. You don't know what you're waking up. He will come. I can't lose you again." And he's like, "You're crazy. You're fucking crazy." Or, like, obviously he won't drop an F. "You crazy bitch." Fucking backhander and runs off. So anyway, yeah. So he like reaches into his wallet and he pulls out a stack of whatever the money is in Egypt, and he hands it to her, and he's like, "That's enough for a plane ride home. I don't expect to see you again." And he walks off. And then next day we've got the excavation, and it's all sort of fine. Toomey explore, and basically they wake up Vandal Savage, who's been mummified or kept inside the ship in stasis, because obviously we've got to remember this is actually a spaceship, an ancient spaceship, and there'll be lots of exposition here. So like they only seem to worship one god. The god was Anubis, and then actually Ben, one of the scholars will be like, "Well, that's actually not a hawk head. It was a falcon head." And they'll be like, "So this is
that
different."
Me playing that role? Like, will I be in the film?
Yeah, that would be. No, I tell you who we get in that fucking role: John Oliver. That's who we get in that role. It's basically you. But yeah, you get John Oliver, and you get John Oliver. John Oliver is the comic relief character. Of course he is. That's fucking brilliant. Yeah, John Oliver is the comic relief character. Like he's a scientist, and he like loves flying, and that's brilliant. Yeah, he's really glib, and he's like, "Well, actually, it's a falcon head instead of a hawk head. So we don't know what these are." I love that. I hope we can all agree that that's a great casting choice.
Well done.
And if we don't, fuck you. Just imagine him in like 1940s garb with his glasses and a little book, looking all like nerdy and bookish. It just warms the cockles of my heart. Anyway, so they do the Tomb Explore. I don't think this is like an ancient civilization. And then Carter sort of just he's feeling, and he's like, it's weird. It feels so familiar, or something. And then he presses like the hawk face or something, and it's like a fingerprint recognition. It like recognizes him. There's like a light or something, or then you get shifting of stones that get to the central chamber, and there's all this fucking treasure, all this cool shit. None of it works. It's all like out of commission and stuff, but there's this mummy in the center, and there's a knife sticking in him, and then Carter sees the knife, and he has these flashbacks, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he kind of sits down, and then John Oliver's like, "Oh, we can retrieve this specimen," and he tries to pull the knife out with it, and just as he goes to touch it, Carter grabs him. He's like, "No, use a cloth." And then he wraps his hand in a cloth. He's like, you can't disintegrate it. And then he goes to place it, and he pulls it out, and he puts it in his little man satchel. And they just collect stuff, and then he's like, "Right, it's getting late, boys. It's been by my watch, it's been a few hours. Let's get out of here and get some fresh air, shall we?" And they leave, and you're like, the entire time you're like, "What's going on with this fucking mummy?" And then like as they leave, obviously the mummy and starts to move, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Maybe have another run in with the lady at that point. Maybe.
Yeah, something like they've
Shiara, her name is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She-Ra.
It would depend. Yeah.
She-Ra.
She might be Kendra by the time we meet her.
Okay. So yeah, she finds him at a bar. Maybe thereafter, he's drinking in a bar. And it's a speakeasy, and there's jazz, and it's nice. In the middle of, you've got this weird slice of like Americana in the middle of Egypt, which is like mental. Or maybe you find like an Egyptian jazz band. That'd be fucking brilliant. Like, that'd be cool. And she's like, we need to talk now. And he's like, I thought I told you to leave. And he's trying to be the big macho man. And like, clearly she says a few words and she's fucking in charge. She's like, I hate how stubborn you can be. You're always like this. And then she'll kind of go off script a little bit and be like, but I guess I'm the same when you're the first one that wakes up. And kind of drifts off, and he's like, what are you talking about? And then we get the exposition of what a guan and who he is and who she is. And, you can't remember any of it, can you? And it's like, you didn't go in, did you? He's like, yeah, and it responded to me. She's like, of course it responded to you. You were captain of the ship. And she's like, you didn't bring him out of stasis, did you? You didn't remove the knife. And he's like, well, yeah, we're gonna like check it out. And he's still like sort of incredulous and can't really believe what's going on. And then there's a fucking great big explosion, and the mummy has sort of risen, and it's still looking pretty haggard, like it's still pretty corpsey, but it's got the beard, and it's sort of shuffling. Like, people are like, you hear the commotion. Maybe there's not even an explosion. You just hear a commotion. And then people are running over to see what the fuck this is. And it's like this mummy kind of shuffling zombie-like towards the bar. And people are going over to be like, try and stop it. And it's so powerful. It's just like, with these weird... It's moving like stop motion. Like really creepy movements, and it's just batting people out the fucking way, like batting people out the way. Maybe it takes, it depends how like brutal we want to make it, but maybe it takes the heart of someone and eats it, and then it starts to like be less mummified, and the bandages fall from the face of the mummy a bit more. And then Carter's at this point gone outside, and Shayar and Kendra's like, it's him, it's Vandal Sat, and then like, I don't know, you can't hear really what she's saying, because all you can just hear Carter's heartbeat.
Yeah, I would say
quiet. Just
quickly, we should be a bit careful about how close we're straying to Vandal being Imhotep.
I was going to say,
because Vandal doesn't. I can't remember. I don't. Isn't it just that he never dies, not that he dies and is reborn?
Yeah. It's just that he never dies, but he's never died. He's never died. He's just kept in stasis. He's been dried the fuck out. Yeah,
no, I just mean like by mummifying him, making him too mummy-ish.
Yeah,
or maybe like putting a bit too much on like the straying close to that whole. Oh, he's like having to like revivify from all this by.
I think
doing
he should just come out completely fine. He should be like, knife comes out and he's like, I'm fine. I'm going to murder some people because I'm a fucking bastard.
Yeah.
But you could have quite a cool thing actually. No, kind of like invert it almost, where he comes stumbling in all the like mummy wraps.
Yeah.
And then he just really smoothly like pulls it off, and he's got like his kind of classic sort of classy outfit on.
No, he can't have a suit under the mummy bandages.
No, but he's got like a. I guess he'd probably
He's got whatever he was wearing when he murdered them the first time. Spoilers!
Yeah. So he's all like super fancily dressed up underneath.
Yeah, he's basically dressed like Jafar, like a fancy Jafar.
I think you should have him completely nude, but carrying himself as if he's wearing a
absolutely.
suit.
No, that's great. Ben. That's great. Yeah. Or he's like wrapped. The bandages, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, no, completely nude is also fine. So he's like there, and he just starts saying like, he starts making a speech, and he's speaking in like ancient Egyptian, and he's saying like, no, just hand him over, and no one gets hurt. You don't have to do this. And then she starts speaking to him back in like ancient, what you think's ancient Egyptian. And he's like, what's going on? And then you've got a big chase scene where he's not even running. he's just walking, and they run, and then he's like there.
Yeah.
And this keeps happening, and then eventually they shake him off by some kind of thing. You have your Lord of the Rings moment. He walks through a marketplace, and that's when he gets the suit.
I like that, and I like the.
He's like he's getting dressed as he's walking through, and anyone that's trying to stop him, he's
you're
like
cutting between market stalls. So you you've got it side on, and you like see him walking. Yeah, and then he goes behind the market stall, and when he comes out, he's got like a jacket on, and then as it comes out, you get. But
there's also all this destruction as well. Like people are getting thrown, necks are getting snapped. It's fucking crazy. You've got all this destruction going on, and he's just fastening his suit and be like, "This doesn't have to be difficult. You just have to come with me. Give me back my dagger, and this can be fine. I just need to perform the sacrifice, and everything will be fine." And he doesn't know what the fuck's going on, but he's starting to understand the occasional words that he's saying, and he's like, what's going on? They eventually escape. They have a massive argument in the middle of the desert somewhere. Like they drive out in an old Jeep to the middle of the desert somewhere, and they have this fucking shouting match. What is going on? And they get really fucking mad, and they start having she starts kind of fighting him. She's like, you need to wake up. And he's like, I don't know what any of this means. And then she's like, you need to come back. And then she just she keeps hitting him and knocking him to the floor. And he gets up. And he's like, you come back to me now. And then as she goes to hit him, he grabs her arm, and his fingernails have grown a little bit into these claws. And then he's looking at her, and his eyes have changed, and he's like, I know you. And then that's his moment of starting to remember. And then the rest of the film is him training montage, couple of mini missions while Vandal's in the way. They've got to, get bits to repair the stasis chamber.
I would maybe have it less training. I almost envision the reveal is not it is more I kind of I just imagine it so similar. They're having this fight and stuff, and she's just getting more frustrated. He's still look, I get there's all this crazy shit going on, but what you're saying is too much to believe. He's some strong dude, you're strong one, and she just goes, I'm fucking sick of it, and she just reaches into her bag, and he's going what are you doing? And because she's consistently proved she's faster than him, she just pulls something out and shoves it on his head, and it's the Hawkman helmet.
Nice.
And his head kind of goes back, and you maybe get whatever effect we used on the the thing he touches earlier, almost ripples across the helmet, and you have her hand on it, and she goes you are Carter Hall. In past lives and she reels off a couple of names to imply. Yeah. And it goes, and before all that, you were Carter Hall, and I was Shair. Yeah. You are, and then maybe she says you are the Hawkman. Maybe that's something that's left until he appears in the paper or something at the end of the film.
Well, you say it in the ancient language.
Yeah. And then he comes,
and he's like, "What does that mean?" She's like, "Well, the translation's not so great."
Yes.
But
yeah, he asks her after all the events, what did you call me again?
Yeah, and she's like, well, the language, it doesn't really, a lot gets lost in translation, but literally it means Hawkman. He's like, Hawkman.
She's are forever going to know me as Hawkman.
Look at you. And then the entire rest of the movie, the subplot is about him not being able to fly, and he's terrified, and he can't get his wings. And then maybe she gets her wings at some point, and she's like, my love, join me, after they've done a successful mission of doing whatever to repair the stasis chamber so they can kick Vandal Savage back in and put him in stasis, because they find out he's immortal, and you get to see some of the deaths that they've had before through time. And yeah, so you got that shizzle going on, and then final battle with Vandal Savage. Has he got goons, or has he got magic powers? Does he need? Do you need to have a big fight where they fight lots of goons before fighting him?
Have recruited a couple of mercenaries.
No, Vandal Savage has Nazis. Vandal Savage was a Nazi.
Yeah,
that's
fairly
canon. He in this instance, he's in Egypt.
So do we would set it up then that maybe like the area where they're in is close to a contested region, or
the Nazis were all over Egypt. You just walk into a Nazi camp and go, "So who are you then?" It's like, and like trying to shoot him. And it's like, yeah, you seem arsehole enough.
Yeah.
You're fit for purpose.
I'll be the boss of you now.
Awesome. Well then, and then one of them, they have to steal something from a Nazi camp. It's like a bit of tech, and then you'll do a callback to some evil Nazi or some bit of tech from the 1940s Silver Age of DC Comics. That helps with the status chamber. I don't know what, but something. Maybe you talk about nth metal or something. They need to get nth metal.
Maybe they'd also been raiding the local area.
Yeah, they need to get. They need to get 2 lumps of nth metal, and it will become their armor and weapons because they haven't got that yet. She only had enough to have to make the helmet, and you can talk about how nth metal, reverberates with the universe, and it's a living metal, and blah 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 blah.
There's got to be a point. I don't know if it would be before the final battle or like during a pause in it, where like she's, they're just. It might actually have to be a bit before, but they see this Nazi platoon coming, and she's like. She maybe looks at it scornfully at, he's got like the old school sort of, he's got like a service revolver or something. She goes,
yeah,
you're going to need a bit more than that. And she leads him down to like, maybe it's either in the same tomb or it's just like different, but it's like the armory and it's got the axe and it's got the mace.
Yeah, and then I like the idea that maybe there was an air base, and then you'll get like the Nazi, whatever the Nazi fucking the Nazi planes were called. I can't remember.
Luftwaffe.
Yeah. You've got a couple of them, and they're machine gunning them down, and so she instantly takes flight against them, and she's like, she's screaming at him, she's like, "Help me!" And he's like, "I can't do it." And they've tried a couple of times, and she's tried the old, fly and drop him, and the fear will bring out his wings, but it doesn't. And then maybe they, that brings a bit of tension during the film. They don't talk for a bit, and that makes the mission quite hard. And then but they make up, and there's a love scene, much like the Wonder Woman one, where it just fades to black after they have a bit of a kiss.
That was beautiful.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, let's reverse the fucking Superman shot. She's in the air holding him and they're making out. Yeah, that's a fucking great idea.
I was going to say,
wings
that's
wrap
how...
around them to give them privacy.
That's how eagles have sex. They do it in the air and they fall. So we can have that.
just him doing a doggy style and then using her as a glider.
As they fall down, hoping that he finishes before they hit the ground.
Anyway,
nailed it.
So yeah, that's a cool reversal of the Superman thing. Wrap the wings around. The wings are they're not. Are the wings functional, or the wings just like for show?
They've got to be functional.
No, they're not, because the nth metal gives them the anti-gravity powers.
Yeah, but they do flap.
Yeah, they get where they want to go.
Get to where they want to go
sexually.
And you could have it as a post-credit thing where they're maybe hanging around. Maybe the town they're in is near a army base or something,
right?
And you hear there's an American unit's just pulled into town. And then, Wonder Woman could show up at the bar or something and say, "I hear you've been you've been causing a lot of fuss around here." Or, just have some... Or even you could bring in, you could have a JSA member who isn't Stargirl.
Maybe. I don't think we should introduce Wonder Woman too early, because then that brings into question, why the fuck didn't you call on Hawkman and Hawkgirl when fucking Steppenwolf was kicking about?
Do it as JSA then. Don't have
No, hang on. Right. So, mention Wonder Woman, because it's happening around the same time.
Mention Wonder Woman,
right?
but if you want to, tie him in saying... Because, Wonder Woman is doing the 80s...
no, it's fine. I've got... It's trust me, right? Okay. So we have our final battle. And he's got the armor on, and he's fighting Vandal Savage, and then Vandal. Most of the Nazis are beaten, and Vandal has got the knife. He's managed to get it from John Oliver. It wasn't particularly a hard fight. Or maybe even John Oliver turns. You know, because
I don't think he would.
Vandal Savage has got this kind of power, and he's like hypnotically charismatic. Like he can kind of almost control people. If I'm right, I could be completely wrong.
He's very charismatic. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, he offers him loads of money or something, and John Oliver kind of turns tail, and he's like, "I'm sorry, you know, I don't want to die," and he's giving him the knife, and so Vandal's like fighting and blah blah blah, and then he's like. And now I'm gonna take from you what I've taken time and time again, the love of your life. And he zooms off to go and like fuck her up, and she's still up there fighting the planes off. And he's like, there's nothing he can do, and he lets out like this kind of roar. That like Thanagarian war cry, and out from his back burst these fucking wings, and then he's like, savage, and then fucking woof, and he's up there, and he forgets all about his fear for the woman he loves, and he goes crashing down, and he like throws Vandal into the fucking stasis thing, but Vandal stabbed him with the knife just before he puts him into stasis, and you're like, what the fuck? So she's like landed, and she's wondering where he is, and he's like suffering, really bleeding out from these wounds, and then she's like, there's only one thing for it, we're going to have to it's going to take years for you to recover from that, for whatever reason, make up a mumbo jumbo magic science, and they get into like these two sarcophagi that have the hawk heads on them, and they close, and you know, it's this really sad moment, and then the all the entrances to the pyramid close off, and nothing can get through them, and they're closed, and then you cut to 2017 or whatever, and they open, and they're both like naked, I guess. Like the nth metal's kind of formed, like it's at their feet, and it's like formed these balls, and she wakes up first, and his sarcophagus is open and empty, and Vandal Savage has disappeared, and she's like, no, she freaks out, and then she kind of starts running out, and he's like, well, where you going? And he's like in a suit or whatever, he's like in normal clothes, and she's like, what, you were gone? And he's like, yeah, well, I thought you'd need a coffee after all that. And then, you know, he woke up first, and he's fine and fully healed, and they kiss, and it's lovely, and she's like, where's Savage? And he's like, I don't know. And then have them meet up with the Justice League somehow.
Post credits, yeah.
I would like there to be like, because Aquaman thinks he's the badass of the team, and then Hawkman's just like, shut up, sit down.
See, my only temptation would be to follow more Wonder Woman's route and have them. I mean, Wonder Woman's obviously gone a weird route in that we've had her origin in the past, then we've seen her twice in the present, and now we're going back to the past for her next film.
Or you could have Batman being Batman and just being like, oh, you're finally awake.
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
But I'd kind of almost want to play into their time travel more and see a second film with them in the past before they get to meet the JLA.
I don't know. I don't think people are going to stick around for 2 Hawkman movies.
Hey, they're making a second Suicide Squad.
Oscar winning.
God,
Suicide Squad.
So yeah, that's up for debate. But yeah. I think that's a good movie. We just need someone to write it who's clever, get some quippy one-liners.
I like it, but if it was me, I would rig it as a video game. I was just thinking the entire time through, this would make a fantastic video game.
I actually think Hawkman. No, I actually, as a movie like that, I think Hawkman I think Hawkman could be a TV series where you season by season you follow them through different eras of history.
Well, you could do that, yeah. We could completely debunk it. Yeah, that's a good That's a good alternative. That would be cool. So you just do.
That's a very different. Like, I don't know how each season you go.
Yeah.
Like,
also, they have to die.
Yeah, they have to die at the end of each season, or the seasons have to be like so. Or you'd have to have seasons which are so close in time period that you can believably just see them older.
Yeah,
but I think that's a decent movie version of Hawkman. It does, It's just like how you decide to link him towards it. I do like the idea of Hawkman like strolling into the JLA and being like such a terrible fit, just like stepping in and like everyone's chilling out or whatever at the table. Batman, they're on livery, whatever. You can and like his version of chilling out is like dropping the mace down, and I'm like, ooh.
No, I like this idea that like you've got this Justice League, and they're having a conversation, and then like I don't know, the alarm goes off, and you look up the cameras, and just before they look up at the monitors, and then just this mace kind of whoosh, and then fucking everything goes off, and Batman kind of smiles and sits back down, and then Hawkman and Hawkgirl walk in, and Aquaman's like, I'll handle this. And he walks up and he's like, yo buddy, I don't know who you think you are, but this is for members only. And then maybe Hawkgirl just fucking owns him. Like straight up, like beats the shit out of him and holds the axe above him, and he's like, and then Hawkman like grabs her arm and he's like, not now, my love. No, it's not the time.
You could even do it like, the classic thing where Batman takes out Guy Gardner with one punch?
Yeah.
Like, recreate that, but with Hawkgirl
and Aquaman. So she just
like,
totally just fucking cold clocks him because he's not expecting it. Yeah, I like that, yeah.
And then Carter's just my name is Hawkman, this is Hawkgirl.
Yeah. So he sits down. They both sit down at the table, and then Bats like looks up and he's like, it's about time you showed up. And then he's like, they're like, what? And then you've got Ezra Miller's Flash being like, well, he's back. Well, Actually, that could be quite cool. Is that they go to the Justice League because they're like, Vandal Savage is a threat you need to know about, and absolutely.
Maybe Batman like knows about the Hawks, but isn't really like aware of the extent to it, and they're like, no, impressed that you've had an idea
because he'd kind of go, my name is, and then Batman would be like, Carter Hall and Kendra Hall, we know.
Batman like throws the diary of Carter Hall down on the table or whatever.
You hear about the Savage problem or something.
Oh, he throws the knife down.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. He just pulls it from underneath his cape, and it's just like tink, and then they're like, and then that's when the Flash. Then you get your nice bit of comedy because the Flash would be like, "Cause he's Batman," and then Bats would look at him and he'd be like,
I can imagine that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And he's just, and then that's your credits. That's your end credits.
There'd be a beat like tink, and then a silence, and then. Because he's Batman.
yeah.
And then it just plays like the 80s Batman.
That's the pitch. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like the sound of that, then please let us know by either sending an email to content@geek-pride.co.uk, or you can let us know, two of us at least, on Twitter. You can find me at @the_dark_Mike on Twitter. You can find Callum at Callum Tyndall, or you can just yell at Geek Pride.
Just yell into the void and we'll find you.
That's Twitter. You can yell at Geek Pride at Geek Pride 1. Or as I said, you can send us an email, or you can subscribe to the secret Patreon if it exists. We don't know yet. Oh, secrets. If not, then just tune in next time this podcast is around. Also, if you could rate and review us on iTunes, 5 stars, please, would be lovely. It really helps other people kind of realise that we exist and we're a thing. As I'm sure you can imagine, there are 1,000 podcasts with the word geek and with descriptions of movies in them. So it would be really helpful if you could rate and review us. It helps more than you know. So thank you very much. I've been Mike Orvis. He's been Callum Tyndall.
Stay strong.
He's been Ben Fee.
It's true.
And this has been Pitch Please. But before we go, you thought I'd forgotten. We're going to roll that motherfucking dice, and we got to see what's happening on the next episode. So we roll the magic dice. And the magic dice says number 7, which means nothing to no one who can see the list. And I'm the only one who can see the list. So there. 7. Ooh. It just says 80s cartoon.
Nice.
That's pretty fucking broad.
Yeah, man.
So...
That's one of mine.
It's one of yours.
So, you want to take that one, Ben?
I am happy to take that one.
Okay.
I'm happy to host this one.
Yeah, man. I'll pitch something. I'm gonna find the fucking most obscure bullshit.
Man, do raccoons. Do fucking raccoons, dude.
Well, I mean, that's going to be quite biased because I'll be like, and we end with the Glitter Wolf cover of Run With Us.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. You should listen to that track. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
It's my favourite song ever.
Oh,
the original, not your shit. The original. I'm joking. His remix is fantastic.
You're lovely. We are the only version on Spotify, so we get quite a lot of listens. It's quite nice. Like we earned $7 on Spotify the other day from basically just that song. So that's always good. There is going to be a cover in the next Glitter Wolf album, and it's. Yeah, if we get the rights, it's going to be pretty amazing.
I'm so excited to hear what it's going to be.
Anyway, big love to you all, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is Pod Racing.
Hello, it's me. Yeah, me. Oh my god, I haven't seen you in ages. How you doing? Oh god, your hair's looking fantastic. Are you doing something new? Anyway, it's me. It's Mike. I'm here on the internet at the end of the podcast. Haven't done that in a while. I just wanted to let you know that the secret Patreon is actually a real thing. It's like a real thing that you can get involved with. So I'll put a link in the description for this, and we'll put a link out on Twitter and stuff like that. So follow us on that. It'd be awesome if you could contribute in any small way, even if it's like $1 a month. That's 80p a month, just to support your boys. Let us know. Love you. Bye.